Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back. It's the hat trick. If I release this on Wednesday evening, it's the hat trick today, Kev. I've done a transfer talk, I've done talking tactics, and now it's the match preview for Villa's debut in the Europa Conference League. How excited are you for this?
Rich, say that again, please. What's this match preview for? Carabao Cup second round. What? What is it for?
We actually we don't actually go into the Carabao Cup until the third round, mate.
I believe that as well.
Do you know why that is?
It's because are we in that orange trophy again? Is it? What is it? No, we're in Europe, Richard. We're in Europe. We're back in Europe after 12, 13 years, whatever it is. Fantastic news. I'm like a kid in the sweet shop. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and of all the places we were going, we could have gone to Prague, we could have gone to Portugal, we could have gone to Spain. But where are we going on our first jaunt in Europe?
Just up
Edinburgh.
Up, top of the country, mate, Edinburgh.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, it's European football nonetheless. Hibernian in the Europa Conference League Play-Off round. What a time. It was going to be Wednesday, 5:45 kickoff up in Scotland, and fantastic opportunity for Villa to progress into the group stages and really kick on. We're going to preview that game. We're going to go through kind of some of the key players that will be involved in it. Maybe a couple of debutants for Villa, a couple of past Villa players in the Hibs team. And we'll obviously give our score predictions and potential predicted lineups as well. First of all, though, we are on the road to 3K, as I'm saying at the moment, and you guys can help us by hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button. Like I always say, the support we get is fantastic on the channel. So continue to hit that like button and continue to subscribe if you are new and you like what you see. So, Kev, Europa Conference League. Hibs have done well to get through to this round, managed by Lee Johnson, who maybe had a little history with Villa back in the Championship days. I mean, it's got to be. I think Hibs beat FC Luzerne, was it in the round before? Yeah. Did well to beat them and did very well away from home. But we've got to be looking at this as a massive opportunity, haven't we? We'll be massive favourites for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got quite a few injuries as well. So I think they've got three games in 6 days. So it's not. We've obviously got a situation where we're going to have to get used to playing a couple of times in a week for the first time in a long time. But massive game for Hibs, a game that they're not fancied to win, and they've got injuries piling up, fixtures piling up as well. So, yeah, they're going to be under a bit of a test as well. Not that they've got much expectations, I imagine, to beat a team like Aston Villa, but what an opportunity for them to get one up over the old enemy. It's not.
Yeah,
get an English-Scottish matchup, is it now?
Exactly. And I know Lee Johnson has talked about kind of them not being there just to enjoy the occasion. Obviously they've got the professional footballers, they've got a lot of pride, but it's going to be a tough ask for them. If Villa turn up and I'm pretty sure Emery will have the players firing. Villa turn up tomorrow, and then in the return leg next week, it should be a comfortable tie for us.
Yeah, I agree. It should be the kind of tie that a team like Villa now should win fairly easily. And if you look at what the big teams do when they play games like this in the early stages of a competition, we should be able to be in a scenario like we did against Everton, where you can actually start bringing a few players off, get the job done early on. We've got the firepower to do it now. Get the job done early on, and then you can potentially sort of semi-rest a few players. Maybe then you haven't got to play full strength at Villa Park, and you can start to manage that extra workload that we're going to have.
Yeah, exactly. And talking on Hibs, they've got a couple of ex-Villa players, and one who is likely to be playing is Jake Doyle-Hayes, and a player who was fairly rated at Villa in the under-23 side, but has done pretty well to kind of set a career for himself in the Scottish Premier League, and I believe has signed a 4-year deal with Hibs. So, one player who we'll be likely to see. Another who is playing for them, Harry McCurdy, used to play for Aston Villa as well. Just come back from I think heart surgery, but he's not going to be fit to play. But good to see players that have come through Villa's academy or Villa's under-23 side and making a career for themselves.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely brilliant because look, Scottish Premier League, there's two teams, isn't there? Really, you get the odd other team might win one of the cups, but really it's Rangers or Celtic. And when you're playing for one of the other teams, what's the equivalence? I mean, you're probably looking at Championship, maybe League One for some of the quality of those players. So if you're a player and you don't make it through the ranks, so you get through the ranks of a top club, and then you don't quite make the grade, you could be playing maybe League One, maybe League Two, maybe lower end Championship, or you get to play against Celtic and Rangers every week. And I just think it's a massive opportunity to do that. So I think all credit to these players because, I think he's from Ireland, isn't he, Doyle-Hayes? And moving up to Edinburgh, obviously a nice part of the world, playing week in, week out in the top Scottish league. And would he get the opportunity to play European football without that? Probably not. So. Yeah, I think it's great, but it's nice that there obviously are some links, with Villa. There's that little bit of Lee Johnson bite that you mentioned, from Bristol City.
Was there something to do with the grass was too low, or the crowd were behind both goals, or something like that?
Something stupid. Yeah, and I think that was the 9th game on our winning run in a row. I think it was, and I remember that well because it's my lad's first ever game. Like I think he was 4 when I took him to that, and I thought there was a bit of history today maybe. So and then it got there because he was desperate to see Grealish, and Grealish was injured. So I think that was the game. But yes, you got the Lee Johnson link, you got Doyle-Hayes, you got McCurdy, and obviously you've got a certain midfield maestro as well, haven't you?
Yes, we'll come to that in a minute. I just want to cover a couple of other players in the Hibs side. I've had a look at their squad. I think one of their players that they rate quite highly is Eli Yuan who's represented France at various youth levels, left winger. He played well in the last game in Luzerne and scored. And he's also scored in their last game against Wraith Rovers. I think that was in the Scottish League Cup. So he seems like quite a dangerous player, one that they'll kind of want to get on the ball. And then they also have Adam Lafondra up front, blast from the past, 36 years old, has been playing in Australia for Sydney FC, but now at Hibs has played 5 games and scored 2 goals. But obviously Bolton, Wigan, Cardiff, Wolves, Reading, obviously been around the clubs, mate. But I guess it'll be interesting. The Villa defenders coming up against Adam Lafondra.
I remember him scoring a few bangers back in the day. Lafondra wasn't a bad little player. Did pretty well for himself, getting obviously a bit of Premier League experience. But 36 years old now, it should be no trouble really for us defensively. But hey, football's a funny game, isn't it? Maybe makes himself a bit of a hero. Johnson will definitely be up for it. The ex-Villa players be up for it. But all those players, because if you're Hibernian, to get to the Europa League
massive game
group stage, get to the group stage, you've got all of those ties then. You have having money spinner, of course, gives you a bit of profile, helps the club in terms of attracting players. So, yeah, and they know, this is the thing about two-legged games, they know if they can get a win at home, the crowd are up for it. You get a win against a big team, anything can happen. I think we've all got memories of, slightly different sort of scenario for Villa as a club. But I remember going to Valley Parade for that.
I knew you were going to say that.
That semi-final for the League Cup under Lambert, and got humbled at Valley Parade to a League Two team, and then basically couldn't do the job at home. So we cannot be complacent around this, and that's why I do think he'll probably pick a fairly strong side.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Villa side. Obviously, we've got as I said, a certain player who is returning to his former club, and it's been nicknamed the John McGinn Derby. Great memories for John McGinn, and brilliant for the Hibs fans at Easter Road to kind of welcome him back as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, for him, like, would he ever thought? I mean, I think he's sort of got his eyes. He's a Celtic fan, isn't he? So you could probably maybe see him one day going to Celtic. But let's say, who knows what happens with your career, injuries, that kind of thing. Would he have ever thought he might play against, at his peak particularly, play against Hibernian again? Or play in Scotland again, to play for his club, basically, to go back there. It's absolutely magic, isn't it? And it's obviously where he really made his name, didn't he? Because he started out at St Mirren, but he got, I think we have just over 100 appearances for Hibernian across 3 years before Villa got him, and really made his name to make Villa want to splash out the massive, what was it, £2.5 million, was it, something like
that? Exactly. Yeah. Got to be one of the bargains of the last 10 years, to be honest. But brilliant for him. And then we could even see, and Unai has mentioned it today, that Nicolo Zaniolo could feature in the game, and it'd be exciting for Villa fans to see what he's like.
I tell you what, I was excited to see him on Twitter today. Have you seen the size of his legs?
Yes. He's the new Jack Grealish legs, isn't he?
It's me. It's not just calves though. It's like quads and glutes as well.
I know. Yeah.
Starting to question my inclination when I saw him earlier in a pair of shorts. He looks like a physical specimen, and obviously he's tall. Was he like 6'3"? Is his
6'2", 6'3"? Yeah.
So, fit, if he can keep his knees right, which obviously has been his issue, then I think he could be an absolute baller for us. He's physical, he's strong, he's skillful. Imagine if Zaniolo comes in. Well, you've got options then, haven't you? Because you find we've just lost to Coutinho for maybe 3 weeks. Bailey maybe should be fit for the game, but in terms of forward options, it gives you another one: Zaniolo, Diaby, Watkins. We've mentioned obviously the ones that aren't going to be there. Ramsey's not going to be there, but you should still have enough then, shouldn't you? Really?
Yeah. And also a guy who scored his debut goal, or his first goal for Aston Villa at Villa Park. John Duran, might be calls for him to maybe start against Hibs. Do you think there's a call for that, or would you go really strong first up and then kind of maybe bring him on again and get his fitness up?
I would go full pelt from the off. I know there's talk that Emery likes to play a cup keeper, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it'd be pretty much the same team. The only change I might consider is bringing Diego Carlos in. And then, I don't know what's happened with Digne's move. Apparently he was in France. Whether you play Pau, Carlos, Konza, and then Cash, that might be the only change I make. You can make a call with our squad now that bringing in the Tielemans in for Louise doesn't really weaken you. I think you'd also make a call for bringing in probably a Badace, maybe for a Bailey. It doesn't massively weaken you away from home with Bailey. But I think some of those core linchpins of the team, your Watkins, your McGinns, your Konzas, Martinez, I'll be starting them all. I think you've got to really, in a game like this, you've got to go hard. If you need to rest them then after 60 minutes, then you do it.
Well, also the benefit of playing on the Wednesday, obviously we've had a great win on Sunday. Players will be buzzing. The benefit of playing the Wednesday is that we've got Burnley on Sunday. So it's not like we're doing Thursday, Sunday this week. So you might be able to go a bit stronger than you might have ordinarily done. Had the game been on a Thursday, you might actually say, well, I can play, Watkins, I can play Konsa, I can play Diaby, because they're getting that extra day rest that they wouldn't have got before.
Yeah, and let's not also forget as well that Emery will have very, very bad memories of making quite a few changes in a cup game against Stevenage in January, and it blown up in his face, and that was at home. So even if the game was Thursday to Sunday, or even if we were playing Saturday, the reality is we've got to get through this tie. It's absolutely essential, because for Villa to get to Europe finally, just, unbelievable charge at the end of the season, to then get kicked out of it by Hibernian would be an absolute disaster for us as a club. I think we've got worst. We're all tipping us that we win the trophy. We're one of the favourites. So we've got to watch out for this banana skin. Go strong, go hard, get the result away from home. And I think I'd be going pretty strong at home as well.
Yeah, and I do think that they will come at us for the first 10, 15 minutes as any team in that situation would do. But if we can keep control of the game, I think then the quality should come through. And like you say, the pace that we've got, the way that we attack, the passing movements that we make, we should have more than enough to kind of dominate Hibs. So yeah, I'm very very confident that we can get a good result. I'll come to you first for a prediction, now, mate. What are your thoughts?
I fancy us to get a 3-1 away win. 3-1.
I'm not gonna. I was probably gonna say 3-1. I'll go 2-0. I don't think we'll concede. Like I say, I think they've got one or two players that might be slightly more threatening, but they might even. I've said that they might come at us for the first 10, 15, but they might even start very cagily, and allow us to kind of be that team that controls possession and then try and catch us on the break.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I don't see them scoring. I think we'll win fairly comfortably 2-0. And yeah, set us up nicely for the home leg. But yeah, I think I just think it's great for us to be. I mean, how good is it for us to be talking about being in Europe? Like, I know it's Hibs, I know it's the playoff round, but would there's absolutely no way you'd have said this in certainly in October last season, but even in like March last season, we wouldn't have said this, would we?
No, do you know what? It's funny actually. I was tidying up my phone last night, and I've got a few screen records that I've done from posting out clips of the pod. Going back sort of back end of last year, and I went through one last night where it's like you and me, and I think maybe George talking about Gerrard and Villa. I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing as a club? And this is like 10 months ago. It's just it's a disgrace. What's happening? So to think from that point there, I know what you mean. Even March, we had that. Leicester, Man City, Arsenal wasn't. We lost 3 in a row, and then to go on that unbelievable run, to be talking about even the potential of getting into Europe, and then obviously we were like, I was like, we might get top 4 at this rate, and then obviously Wolves and Man United kind of put pay to that, but it doesn't matter that it's Hibernian. It doesn't matter whether it's Ammonia Nicosia, whether it's by Borussia Mönchengladbach. It doesn't matter if it's a German team, a Cypriot team, a Danish team. It's a team that's qualified for this competition that we got to play. And yeah, it's playoff round, but it's still Europe. It's still Europe.
Yeah.
And it's European football. Yeah. Did I get is there a Conference League anthem that the players can sort of listen to us to go out? I don't know if there is.
I believe there is. I'll try and get hold of the audio for the next for the reaction show. Yeah, I'll try and get hold of it. But
I'm just wondering if this like slightly lesser class of a player, Grealish always used to talk about wanting to hear the anthem, did he, for the Champions League? Where there's a certain little Conference League ditty that as they come, like the hairs on the back of their neck are not quite standing to full attention, but they're up a little bit because hey, this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's getting a taste of it. Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say, there's a lot of pressure on it there for Villa because we're massive favourites. We're expected to win, expected to go and do a job. And our one away game this season so far hasn't gone too well. So, a lot of pressure for us to perform, but also pressure is a privilege and it's a chance to shine and show everyone what we're all about.
Exactly. And look, if they perform anything like they should do, they will win the game. There's no doubt about it. So you've got to go into it with full confidence. And let's go and get the job done. Now, just to finish off, by the way, you guys let us know in the comments your score predictions, what you think will happen tomorrow, or today if you're watching it on Wednesday, and let us know your thoughts on starting lineup, etc., and maybe any other danger men that Hibs have got if anyone knows any more about them. But just before we finish up, confirmed probably about 25 minutes before recording this that Aaron Ramsey has confirmed his move to Burnley. Looks like it's a £14 million deal with a buyback clause inserted into it. England under-20 international. Obviously had a good time on loan last season at Middlesbrough. gets a move to a Premier League club, I think it's a kind of a win-win on all accounts, really, especially with that buyback clause inserted in.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a win-win. If he reaches the potential that we hope he reaches, then, being a Villa boy, you'd like to think he'd want to come back. And if you're buying a top talent from a Premier League team who's probably too good for that team, then you're probably looking to pay 30, 40 million, whatever that figure might be. But it's great for him because he's not really going to get a look in. I mean, even at the moment with our injuries, he's not really getting a look in. Hasn't been near the squads. Whether that's because of this move going on, I don't know. But, and obviously we're looking to bring more players in. So for him at his age to get the opportunity to move to a Premier League club who played decent football under a good manager. And I mean, I just hope it works out for him, but just not obviously when he plays us. Have you seen the announcement video that they did, Burnley? They do like creative ones.
Yeah, the Barbie and Cat. I don't get it. But,
well, I think it's Barbie for Burnley. Hi Barbie, hi Burnley. Yeah, I think it's that basically. But he looks so awkward.
That's a very, very tenuous link. I'm sorry, but that is scraping the barrel.
Yeah, but he looked so awkward when he was doing it. He was like, I don't want to be here.
I know. They're like, this is going to be really funny, Aaron. I promise you.
I bet his WhatsApp's going crazy, getting stick from his mates.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously it's looking like Keenan Davis. Well, Villa and Hull have agreed a fee up to £2 million with add-ons, but he's weighing up the personal terms. I think he has potential other offers on the table to consider as well. So I guess that kind of 1 million upfront up to 2 million is kind of what we're going to accept. So if any other clubs come in, then obviously he's got a bit of a choice. And then, as we mentioned yesterday on the match reaction sort of / fans forum show, Philogene Bidace is looking like maybe a 5 million deal, looking like Hull again. And as we said, those players go along with Ramsey. That's upwards of £20 million that we've managed to generate from 3 youth team or players that have joined a later date in the academy, but obviously the majority of that is pure profit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you've seen the Simon Jordan clip going around talking about Chelsea and how academy players is effectively like 3 times what you can say you've saved whatever. So if you're looking at that as a figure, does £6 million for Keenan Davis, for Jadon Philogene Bidace, for that's £6 million. You add 14 million, it's 20 million. Is that more like £60 million you can show on the books? I don't know. Look, I believe they're in the last year of the contracts. Davis has been hit a lot by injuries, and his stock's certainly fallen since obviously he did really well at Forest. When he was scoring against the Blues, and it looked like he was going to get a move to Forest. I think we were all surprised, and it was linked with like a £15 million move to Forest. So I think for a year later to get him for £1, maybe £2 million, still feels like at his age it's a bit low. But is it better to get rid of him now rather than him sticking around, going on loan and getting no fee from him at all? Probably. If there's not loads of suitors coming in to take him on. Although that being said, it's not easy to get a striker in any level, really, whether you're Premier League or Championship. And, I don't know. I still could have seen a situation where a mid-level Championship club would have paid £5 million for him because he could get 10 goals plus in the Championship. But look, we are where we are. It must mean that we've got people coming in. If Bidace goes, if Davis goes, and there's still injuries, obviously concerns for weeks with the likes of a Jacob Ramsey, a Coutinho, a Buendia, obviously long-term, then it must mean if they're getting rid of those players, obviously Aaron Ramsey going as well, they must have options to come on.
Well, yeah, we will wait and see. I don't think, unless Acuna or someone gets done tomorrow, there's rumours of talking with Tavares because Acuna might have a slight injury. So we'll find out. We'll find out if there's anything that will happen tomorrow. And of course, I'll get on the pod and record a video. But I think all eyes will be on Hibs in the Europa Conference League. I'll say it again. And then I think back to transfers and rumours and stuff from Thursday onwards. But yeah, I think that's us, Kev. Can't wait for the game.
Matt, I was just going to say, for those that don't know, it's on BBC Scotland I think you can get it on the iPlayer as well. So it's available if you haven't got any bolt-on TV package, like one of the main providers. It's on normal TV. Just have a search for it in the listings. I think depends whoever you've got your TV service with, but it's definitely available. I think program starts at 5:30, kicks off 5:45. So and again, not everyone might be aware of that. They might be assuming for a European game it's going to be a 6:45 to 7:30 type kickoff. So like me, make sure you got the kids sorted. Might want to think about getting tea on the go a bit earlier. The last thing you want is, Mom, Dad, I'm hungry at like 6 o'clock. You're like, crikey, we've just kicked off. So it might sound a bit obvious, but I didn't, I assumed it was going to be like a 7:30 kickoff until I realised that I don't know whatever reason they moved it for. So yeah, just a bit of boring admin housekeeping, but hopefully a few of you might appreciate.
Yeah, and we'll be backing the lads and the 1,000 Villa fans up at Easter Road tomorrow. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Quick plug again to finish off. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, we are on the road to 3K. So you'll be doing us a huge favor if you can continue to support the channel by liking and subscribing. Kev, thank you for jumping on at this hour to do this preview. It's much appreciated. Thank you for all of you watching as and when we get this out. Comment on, as I say, below on what you think the scoreline is going to be, who's going to start, who's going to be the star man. And as always, thanks for watching. And remember, we all follow the Villa. Bye, everyone.